Today we're taking a look at what is known as the world's fastest gaming monitor. The Asus PG259QN 360Hz, that's right, 360, as smooth as you like. We're also pairing this with an Nvidia RTX 3090 graphics card for maximum frames. With that said, before we get into the meat and bones of this one, it has to be noted that at 1080p you won't be getting that kind of frame rate in many modern games. And this is aimed squarely at competitive players who want the absolute best gear for games like Counter-Strike and Valorant. However, after I've been using this for a few days, it is an overall exceptional gaming monitor. It is the most responsive, blur-free monitor that I've ever played on, and a treat to experience other games on too, such as Warzone and Battlefield. On a high level, the main talking points are that 360Hz refresh rate, 1080p resolution, IPS panel for good colors and viewing angles, minimal input lag, HDR, G-Sync and 1ms grey to grey. It also comes with something that I've never seen before, and it's a really cool feature by Nvidia called the Reflex Latency Analyzer. And this is used for measuring system latency and input lag, which we'll look at now. And if you're a massive nerd like I am, it's easy to get excited about this kind of stuff. I've talked about Nvidia Reflex in a video previously, and if you turn it on in supported games, they will feel more responsive, especially in GPU-bound scenarios. It's incredibly complicated and I won't bore you with the fine details, but for the user, it's as easy as turning it on in the settings. But the latency analyzer is something that's built into the monitor, and to use it we have to plug our mouse into the monitor itself. Once you've done that, load up a game and open the Nvidia performance overlay, and this will show you stuff like your FPS, your render latency, mouse latency, system latency, etc. all useful to know. The next step is to enable the latency analyzer menu from the monitor controls, and once that's turned on, you'll notice a big box appear on your screen. You then have to reposition this onto the end of your gun in whatever game that you're playing, in this case Modern Warfare, with Nvidia Reflex turned on. And now when you click your mouse to fire the gun, the analyzer looks for a sudden change in pixels within that square, like the muzzle flash of your gun, and it then measures how long it took from you clicking the mouse to that change in pixels being displayed on your screen, therefore giving you a latency result. Obviously, the lower the better. Now, this may not be impressive to some people, but for me, having such a simple tool to do this is a game changer. If I'd wanted to do this in the past, I would need to buy a high frame rate camera, record the screen and the mouse. I would then have to look at the footage frame by frame in an editing software and count everything manually, eventually using maths to give me my final latency result. And I got a C in maths at school, so you can see why I'm excited about this. So if you're somebody who strives to get the best gaming equipment and reach your maximum potential, this is awesome because you can test this and see the results for yourself then and there. So this means that if I couldn't decide between 3 different mice that I liked, I now have a simple way to test which one of them has the lowest input latency for my system. It also allows me to see how different graphics settings affect my frame rate and system latency to strike a nice balance between visuals and responsiveness. For example, in Battlefield 5 with everything maxed out on ultra graphics, after 5 clicks on the mouse, my average latency was 35.4 ms. Whereas when I tested again with everything on the lowest settings, the average was 20.3 ms. And yeah, that's just a difference of 15.1 milliseconds. But in competitive FPS games like CS, where every millisecond counts, that could be the difference between you hitting or missing a vital flick shot with a sniper rifle. Some other interesting tests that I plan on doing in the following week are kind of specific to streaming games, but I intend to see how much latency cloning your screen adds, and also running a pass-through on a capture card on a streaming PC, because that kind of stuff is important to content creators. I thought that it would be fun too to compare Counter-Strike and Valorant, as Valorant has got Nvidia Reflex in it. Both of these games have incredibly low latency though compared to others. As you can see by the numbers here, 6.4 was the lowest latency I recorded on Valorant, making it the most responsive and consistent game that I tested, proving how well this game is optimized for competitive gaming. CSGO 1000 frames per second here on Dust 2. Crazy. Again, consistently low results, which is great to see, but Valorant takes the crown here. Wrapping things up, I'm just happy that hardware manufacturers are actually caring about this kind of stuff now and giving us easy ways to monitor and measure it. Reflex is a great feature to have, as is the latency analyzer. Yeah, not everyone will be into this or even use it or care about it perhaps, but for some PC gamers, this can help improve their setups considerably. As for the monitor, like I said at the start, it feels to me like the most responsive monitor that I've ever played on in terms of being connected to it when you're moving the mouse with your hand and seeing that reflected on the screen. Can you notice the difference between 240Hz and 360Hz though? I would say a little bit when you're swiping quickly across the screen, but most people would be hard pressed to tell which one was which if you put them side by side in an A/B test. I'd personally love if this monitor was 1440p too, as I'm so used to that resolution now for gaming and editing, browsing, and it just makes a massive difference in big BR games like Warzone and Apex in terms of noticing players and aiming at targets further away. But outside of a 240Hz 1080p monitor with DIAC, I think this is the best that you could get right now if you're a competitive Counter-Strike or Valorant player. Yeah, it's very expensive, but if you want the best 1080p high frequency monitor, you're going to pay a lot for it. And that's all guys, thank you for watching. A big thanks to Nvidia for providing the RTX 3090 graphics card and monitor for this video. It goes without saying that the 3090 is an absolute beast for 1440p and 4K. It's just awesome to get to test this stuff, and I feel very lucky to be able to do this kind of thing. And I hope you guys found this entertaining and got some value out of it. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.